Very good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all. After the summit, this is our first session. We are starting with on financial. This is Harshali Kharche, founder and the director of SNCC Rehab Foundation. I'll just give you brief about SNCC. We all know it. SNCC is Special Needs Integration Center, and rehab means rehabilitation, empowerment, health and advocacy and belief. That our vision is to empower parents of children with special needs by ensuring their peace of mind, satisfaction and positivity with respect to their child's overall development. Our mission is to sensitize and educate the society about the challenges faced by special need parents, to provide an appropriate perspective to the parents about treatment, therapies, and approaches in favor of child's development, to bring better clarity about myths, beliefs, and misunderstanding with regard to issues, disorder, and dysfunctions. Our motto here is to set the foundation of parents' body capable of providing resolutions to the challenges faced by parents, children with special needs. Here in our webinar series, here we are educate the parent and develop the perspective towards the right kind of intervention. Our main motto of having all these webinar series. Here I welcome Mr. Jitendra Solanki sir in today's topic. I'll just introduce him. Mr. Jitendra Solanki sir is a founder of Plan Special Needs, SEBI Registered Investment Advisor, CFP and CTEF, and founder and director of Special Need Estate Planner Private Limited. I welcome you, sir, without not taking much time of yours. Please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you and good evening to all of you. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and most of the parents have been thinking about it, and that is identifying the residential needs. So when you have a special child at certain point of time, at a certain life stage, you have to identify the residential needs for your child. You know, where he's going to stay and how to go about identify the residential needs is what I'm going to discuss today. I will not go into introduction, but just to give you a brief. So I am founder of Plan Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited, an organization I run, catering to the legal aspects for special children families. Dr. Shweta Solanki, the chief consultant with our organization, and also one of the director of Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited, and Shilpa Wag is a consultant with our organization. So why do you need to plan for the residential needs? Why there is a requirement? So first of all, special needs residential care within and post parents' lifetime. Generally, the child stays with the parents for the lifetime. But then where he is going to stay is a question which every parent has to answer at a certain time. Sometimes the situation demands that within the lifetime also the residential care might have to be identified. Provision for same quality of life. Now, every parent wants that the child after them should have the same quality of life what he has been living now, and for that reason you want to identify the right kind of residential care. And third, addressing uncertainties. There might be uncertainties in life where the residential care would be required for the special needs child. So, and there can be different other reasons which can be specific to a family or which can in general we can look at. But there is always a need, always a demand to think about that where will your child live. Now that's a question I always ask to all the parents so that, you know, start thinking about this, because it takes time till you identify the right kind of residential care. When to start thinking whether it should be in now, or whether, you know, it's a bit later. I think just give me a second. There is some disturbance. Okay. So when to start thinking, I think most of the time the child life stages are not understood. And if you understand the child life stages, the graph you can see, generally, you know, whether the child is at minority, whether the child is in adult phase or in any other phase, the demand of identifying the right residential care would always be there. Now, the child can be in a minority phase, the child can be an adult living in an adult phase, living at home. So they, in both the phases, the need of residential care might be different. When the child living in minority, the requirement is different, but when he or she is an adult, the requirements are completely different. So in both these cases, when you are identifying the residential care, you know, generally, and most of the time, parents start thinking when once the child is an adult phase. Now, at the point of time, the services required are, you know, to a certain life stage, which is going to be a constant. Once the child is an adult phase, the life stages, you know, with respect to the child are constant. The needs of the child will be constant. But when he is in minority, and when he, you know, the adult phase is still far behind, then the needs would change. And that's where, you know, that you have to think from the perspective of how these change services, you know, will be addressed when you are identifying the residential needs. Type of residential care, I won't go deep into these. I think the summit have, you know, captured these, but it can be home care. You know, the child stays in the same home, the child stays in your own residence, and the care is provided by the services are provided by the service providers. There can be group homes, there is assisted living, community living, we have seen, institutional care can be. So there can be different type of residential care, and we are seeing in India these different types of residential care are evolving. Which one fits your child requirement is a identification which has to be done, and it has to be identified. Now, when you are identifying a residential care, what factors you have to look into? You know, how do you come to a conclusion that whether an assisted living is good or whether a, you know, home care would be good? So there are certain important consideration you have to look at. The first is services special needs require. What kind of services your child would require? Now, he might be an adult phase, so the services, as I said, in adult phase would be different. Uh, the case, the staff which is required is going to be different than when the child is in minority. So what kind of services the special need would require? If you identify that, if you analyze that, it becomes easier to identify the residential care, because then you will look at that residential care which have these services. Cost of living. So what is the cost of living? And it's an important consideration, because different residential care would have different cost of living, and institutional care might have a different cost of living than a group home or any other, and the location or the city wise it may also vary. So what is the cost of living in the residential care will also decide whether that is within your means or not. So you have to analyze and identify what is the cost of living in the residential care and what is the cost of living per se required for your special child. So the first element you have analyzed that services, what your services your special needs require. The second element becomes easier to analyze, because you know what kind of services require, and you can identify a certain cost which on which the special child expenses would be met, and that can be matched with the cost of living in a particular residential care. Then create a checklist for service providers. Now comes the very important element, and that is analyzing the service providers, or I would say the residential care. So how, you need to create your own checklist and identify that what kind of services you get. So whether the staff is educated, what are the ratio of staff to the children's, how emergencies are being handled, whether there is an adequate staff to handle emergencies, CCTV cameras are installed. All those things we look at. And when we compare residential care in India, we generally look at the institutions abroad. And there, if you see all the facilities, the quality of life which you want for your child, you have to analyze these in detail. So creating a checklist for service providers for the residential care is important. And even when you are looking at home care, the child is going to reside at home, so the service providers will also be analyzed on this checklist. What kind of services they are going to provide, so what staff they will provide, how knowledgeable the staff is, the education level, as I said, the ratio of children to the staff, the future of the founder, the thinking of the founders, what they think about the organizations, whether it's going to sustain in the long term, the cost of services. And there are various other factors on which you can create a checklist, and you can look at that, which residential care fits into your requirements. Analyzing the support available. Also, along with the residential care, what support you will have now and in the future. So along with what services child require, what all support level you can have when you are deciding for the residential care of your child. So it's important that when you are identifying a residential care, I think going beyond emotions, it's important that you identify whether whatever residential care you want to choose, that's fit into your requirements or not. And as I said, services of what your child require can be different of what you see in a residential care. The cost of living would vary within cities to cities, and we are seeing in India it is varying. Checklist for service providers, it's important that you do have a checklist which can ensure that not about now, because you are looking at the future, you are looking at the future of the lifetime of the child. So all those about thinking of the founders, how they're going to build that institution, the service providers, how they are thinking in the long term, how they're going to provide the long-term services for your child, how these are going to be run, what is the ratio of staff to children, if the service provider is providing services to say 100 families, how they're running that. So all these are important, and what all support you will have, so family, friends, relatives, the other parents from communities. So what will the support you will have when you have the residential care, especially when you are relocating. So in most of the families we are seeing, the relocation is happening, that the residential care is not in the city, and where the child has lived entire, up till now the lifetime has been in the same city. So it's going to be a shift of relocation. So the relocation cost is there, the adaptability of the child is there. So that those are also important considerations. So residential living, as I said, when you are planning for residential, so if it's a own house, whether a new house or it's a modification of house, service availability, what services are available, cost of care, what is going to be the cost of care when you hire the service providers, the funds availability, how the funds are going to be provided. If the child is going to be shifted to a residential care, the type of care, services, security, staff, the continuity of services, child adaptability, comfortable or uncomfortable. If not, then how you going to make the child comfortable? Are you going to shift now, retirement or pre-retirement? And how the funding is going to happen. So when you are looking at residential planning, all these factors have to be considered. Then only you can think of, think of the the identification of right residential care, and also the amount of the funding which the residential care will require, the structure you create. So this is on residential living. Now, expenses, what all expenses you have to plan when you are looking at residential care: living cost, services support, the regular expenses or the recurring expenses you have, emergencies, to deal with emergencies, the cost may come up, traveling expenses, sell for legal guardian. Now if the child is going to be in the other city and the legal guardian is going to be in the other city, so there's going to be a cost incurred by legal guardian for visiting frequently, even if it's once in 2 years, though how that expenses are going to be managed. House modification, so if it's a home care, house has to be modified, so that cost is also going to come up in the future. Any support equipment which is required for the child, and any other miscellaneous expenses. So when you are identifying the residential care and when you are identifying the funding of that residential care, the expenses have to be looked into with varying heads, and how you're going to provide for those expenses can only be planned only if you know what are the amount, what are the type of expenses you have to plan for. And for home care, it might be different expenses. For institutional care, it might be different expenses. Or for any other type of residential care, the expenses might be varied. And it's not only about child expenses. Anything related to child care is going to be an expense for you. For example, traveling expenses. Now, if you appoint a legal guardian, tomorrow the legal guardian manages the affairs, there are going to be expenses for his traveling, visiting the child. How those expenses are going to be met and from where. So all these expenses have to be factored in. Funding of residential care, how you fund the care, how much is required, the amount of money you will require, what is that amount of money, what is that corpus, is it adequate? If not, then how you can fill that gap? Distribution of assets, how distribution of assets will happen and when. So basically how the funding is going to happen, from what type of assets and when it is going to happen. Setting up trust, will you set up a trust for funding of residential care, or the legal guardian would manage all the financials? So all these things have to be taken into consideration when you are deciding a residential care, because identification is fine, you can identify a right residential care, but if the funding is not available and it's going to be for the lifetime of the child, the financials are key issues to be addressed when you are identifying a residential care. Because when the child is living with you, then you are managing it, you do not identify these separately, because you are going to manage it from your from your own income or savings. But when you are identifying the residential care, that has to be funded, and that's where the funding also have to be analyzed along with when you have identified the residential care. Transition planning, so this is a transition stage when the child is going to shift to a residential care or is going to shift to to a home care environment. So his adaptability to that environment is important. How you want to make him comfortable. If he is not comfortable, if he's going to shift to other city, if there's going to change in environment, when and how you're going to make him comfortable so that he adapt to that situation. It may take time. We are seeing most of the families, they are shifting along with the child to make the child comfortable in that environment. Letter of intent or instruction. So letter of intent is already written, but a letter of instruction becomes important factor for anyone else, even for the residential care, to know what things have to be looked at when they are managing the child affairs. Now, if it is in a home care, then for the legal guardian or for service providers, it will become a important resource. So a letter of intent should be written, and check alternatives. Now, when you are identifying a residential care, you cannot pinpoint one and say that okay, for the lifetime it becomes. There can be changes in situation tomorrow, and there might be change in residential care might be required. Something may happen. Now, all these situations we cannot foresee today, but you need to be prepared for. So the alternatives also need to be checked. If you have identified one, tomorrow the child is not adaptable to that residential care, what are the alternatives available to me? So this transition planning stages has to be planned very well. Start thinking, friends or family support, what is available, who is going to be the legal guardian, who is going to manage. Though I have mentioned government assistance available, but it's very minute, even negligible. Funding of the residential care, how it is going to happen, from what resources, from what structure, and your own incapacity. What happens if you are incapacitated? So you might have delayed, or you might not have thought of. Then who is going to decide in that situation? Who is going to manage the fund? So all these things are important. All these the elements have to be planned. And when you are identifying the residential care, these are the factors you have to address. So that's all about residential care. I'm not going deep into this, the types of residential care, because that's a separate subject altogether covered. But I have just given a thought that why it is important to plan a residential care, and why you should, what are the factors you should look at when you are identifying a residential care. A checklist from you is important, and more important is funding of the residential care, how it is going to happen. So these things are important for any parents at any life stage, when you are thinking about what after us, and identifying the right type of residential care in itself is an exercise you have to do, to ensure that residential care of any type you identify that meets your requirements.
Yes, actually, that we have covered in some summit also, as you mentioned, that there are different types of residential cares are available in different cities, and so you have to, we got to know, proper checklist is there, that how you can identify those, and as per your convenience, you want to stay with child, or you want to send your child in care and all those. That is very important. Yes, Ashok Shah sir, you want to ask something? Please go ahead. Yeah.
It's a very good topic of choosing talking about the residential care. The issue is like most of our kids are very much in a comfort zone of the parents. Hardly the kids have stayed away from the parents. Even if we go to the relatives, they stay with us or they come with us. Now, residence care can be during our lifetime and after the lifetime. Some children, because of their issues, behavioral issues, they need to be kept in the residential home. But few of the kids are very comfortable with the parents. In that case, suddenly, when the parents are not there, is it that, or whenever, even if they are there, and we keep the child in the residential care, will we not be increasing his anxiety level and fearfulness and other things?
Yes, sir, I agree. These are the pertinent questions. These things are there, and that's why planning is important. Because when you identify a residential care, you also have to look at how to make him adaptable to that situation. See, if it is coming instantly, without any proper planning, things would difficult. I won't say, I'm not saying that the child will become adaptable to whatever residential care you identify. But a planning has to be done, that how you are making him adaptable to that situation. Most of the parents, do it differently. Sometimes parents are going and living with the child. Sometimes the parent are leaving the child to that, residential care. Now, if it's a home care, so a situation will arise. So there are two life stages when the child is home care. The first life stage come in when one of the parent is no more, and the child is along with the second parent. Now it's a task of second parent to make the child comfortable. These situations are difficult, but we have to address them. And after a certain time, the child become adaptable. And the second transition comes in when both parents are not alive. So when you are identifying these residential needs, you also have to look at that how the child is going to be made comfortable from the residential care side plus from your side. and you have to work a plan for it. It may be, working out with him different situations and then identifying whether he is comfortable or not. Okay. And then reaching to that stage.
Is there an option like keeping a caretaker during our lifetime in the house
Yes.
of around the age of a child, adult child or something?
So
And
you can have a service provider. Okay,
service
there
provider.
can be a service provider who provides services to an adult, to a special child. So you can appoint staff from a service provider and see, how the child is comfortable. Now it might in the initial, so you can make the child comfortable, after a certain time. So you can appoint a staff, let the child, stay with the staff. In the beginning, adaptability won't come in, but since you are there to make the child adaptable to the situation, you can work out strategies where slowly and slowly the child gets adaptable to that situation. And that's why I said, that these are the planning which has to be done ahead. Suddenly it will come, it will be a challenge. So you can work out that in a home care, the way you are looking at, yes, service providers can be looked at who provide these services.
The service provider staying with us.
I mean, there can be different services. Service providers, provide a staff, or you can, hire somebody who can stay along with you and, making the child comfortable.
So that in the trust planning or estate planning, we make the provision of payment for that caretaker at home, and child stays in the house at a more comfort level rather than going into the residential home.
So, trust does not mention any specific payment to any specific residential care. Trust mention that whatever is the care for the child, the trust pays fund to that. Now the trust can pay directly to the support staff, because he is being hired for the care of your child.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. What is the fund amount we are looking at on average is the question in chat box.
Fund amount looking at an average. So I generally do a case studies, and case study I have those numbers on tips. So suppose, I'll give you an example. So suppose the child is, around 5 years, and so say life expectancy is around 75. So it's around 70 years of planning. Now, if the monthly expenses are around 38,500, the amount of money at the corpus will be around 2.8 crore. Now, take it to a higher stage. So suppose the child is around 26 years of age. So it's around 40 years of lifetime you are planning. With the same expenses, the corpus would be required around 1.8 crore. So that is the number you can look at based on expenses. Now this is on 38,500. Increase the expenses to around 50,000, 60,000, 50 to 70,000. I think, maybe the number you can look at based on the living city, the cost in that. So you can work out the numbers accordingly, or there's a simple way. We have an online calculator already. We have already designed that. Just put the numbers in that, the expenses part, and it will give you the numbers. So that is the amount that the child care has to be funded with.
Yes. Yeah, next question we have. When should one start planning for this kid of care for a child? At what age, I mean?
I think the one is, if you look at eventualities or uncertainties, I think the planning has to start the moment you realize this, right? Because what happens after you is a question we always try to answer, and that uncertainty come at any age. But I think generally, once the child is an adult phase, you are also reaching towards, a higher age. I think that is the age you should start thinking about the residential needs. Okay. So I mean, largely, if I take experience of other parents, they start thinking on once the child is an adult phase, when the child turns 18 or 20 or 22. Okay, but this question should also be there when the child is in minority, because eventualities of life, like we have seen in the corona times, right? And we have seen many families. So this question should be there, asking any time. So I think planning should start. I'm not saying you identify the residential care or you buy a place there, but you should analyze and you should identify what kind of facilities are available.
Yes, when is the proper time to send our child in residential care center? I mean, this is...
So proper time would be, I would say, once you are reaching towards your retirement. Now, there are two aspects. Okay, we have seen families even at the age when they are still 10 years to their retirement, they are sending their child to a residential care because they cannot manage it. But I think that's the probably age where you start sending your child to a residential care to make him comfortable, till the time he is going to be shifted permanently. Okay, but the type of residential care you look at, uh, you can also try it out with certain period. The child is living for a certain period and then coming back, so you can try it out there also. But proper time to send your child your residential care center the moment you start thinking about the life future. I think there's no definite answer to this question, that you send it now or you send it in the future. But generally, we have seen once the parent nearing retirement, they start, looking at this option.
I mean, this is a like personalized choice, but still, I mean, what I feel is you should start looking it earlier because you get to know the options. I mean, you are not very old to, I mean, okay, ये देख लिया अभी खत्म ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be, I mean, tried and tested thing that your child is comfortable, and then only you can shift. You should have that much time in your hand. It's not that you are crossing 70, 75, and then you are starting
Yes.
it. Yeah, so that is the thing is very, very important. Next question. Okay, is there any resources where we can get the contact details of existing residential program? If you are in our SNCC group, we are posting those listing and uh, details about residential programs. So if you are in there, you will get all those details. Please ping me or any in group. Next, how to make sure security and safety of the child.
Okay. See, security and safety of the child, there is no one formula. First of all, you have to work on, both the aspect. There is a financial aspect which brings a financial security, and there is a legal aspect which brings the security towards that side. So both these have to be worked, together. You have to work on the financial aspect also to ensure that financials are available when required. And second, you have to work on that provisions, legal provisions are implemented from you, so that if any situation arises, the child care can be managed without any disturbance. So security and safety to the child will come when you will address both financial and legal issues. Any of them, if you leave it unplanned or delay, that insecurity will always be there. And I think we have seen with the parents who are implementing both financial and legal, they are more secure now as far as the child future is concerned.
Yes. Again, okay, Aditya Shah and Ashok Shah.
Are there facilities for parents who live with special kids in communities? Yes, there are. SNCC will give you those options.
Yes. Ari, I was looking at, they have raised the hand. Ashok Shah, sir, you can go ahead.
One of the suggestions that I would put is like, even I am guilty about the things that my child is being overprotected, or he feels more comfort with in our presence as a parents. And, we hardly ever left the child to our relatives' place also, staying for a few weeks or few days or something like that. that should start too early to make him comfortable without us in initial stage. And little bit that comfort zone should develop in step by step. Then distant relative or the friends, he can go and stay with the friends and this thing. So that makes the process more easier for him to stay away from us, and even when we are not there. So it has to start from even a school days also. That's the suggestion.
Yes, I think you are right, Dr. Ashok, that it should start early, so that you are every parent wants an independent living for the child, okay, and that will come only when you start working with the child on all those aspects, okay. So when you are looking at residential care also, to make the child comfortable, the work has to be started early. You have to bring in strategies, you have to implement those things where the child can become comfortable with the environment he is going to shift tomorrow. Okay.
Next question, how we could justify amount what the home charges or service provided?
Justify the amount home charges service providers. Okay, you are saying whether these are uh, okay or these are on higher side. I think one is it will vary with the living city, right? If I have to take a city, a small city, the charges are going to be lower. And if I take a metro, the charges are higher. So you can't compare the charges between these two cities. But yes, if you have service providers within a city, you can always compare charges and identify.
Any government schemes existing now?
No government scheme, and you can't even rely on government scheme also. No government scheme, or there were residential options, but I think they have not worked out well. So you can't really rely on those government schemes. Most of the residential care now are, I would say, found by the parents, or others, not by the government.
Yes, this answers to next question also, that if the financial aspect of parent is poor, then would government help in any ways? No, there are no financial scheme, right, sir? That even...
No. So when a financial situation is poor means if state government has got a pension scheme. I'm not talking about residential, about the financial. They have a pension scheme, but only for families. Like in UP, you have got families who have got an income of not more than 75,000 per annum. So state government has got a pension scheme for that. So it is for a very, very low income group where government have this pension scheme, but otherwise, no, there is no monetary benefit coming in.
Is disability card must for special kids or with low IQ? Yes.
Must for government benefits, or you have to take a UBID card which will link to all the benefits to your child. So disability card or UBID card, you say today UBID card you can get directly so that is good, is must now, and in the future also that might become important.
Yes. Anita, you want to say something? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Regarding the government scheme, Ghorondo scheme is for residential purpose, sir? Hello?
Yes.
Residential purpose, that Ghorondo Prokolpo. Ghorondo scheme, it is the residential for these children. So far I know. Hello?
Yes. Sir, can you? Yeah.
Yeah, one second.
Gharanda Prakalpa, Gharanda scheme. That is the residential of the government. I think so. Is it not working now?
No, Gharanda is there. My only concern is the way we have seen in the past the government scheme or the government monitored institutions for persons with disabilities. So it's just a big question mark whether how these are going to be work and how these are going to be monitored in the future. So I'm saying, do not rely on, because if any government scheme does not work tomorrow, so if any government government run institution, does not work tomorrow, then you will have to look for alternative. You can't rely on, because it's a government funded, the quality of care which you find in other private institution, you won't find in there. It can be only the last resort, if at all it is, is available. But I personally have a, say that don't rely on those government schemes.
Yeah, next question we have: how to plan financial planning and legal provisions for a single child.
So how to plan, this is again, exercise in itself. So you have to work on both these aspects. Financial planning, you have to, you can write to us and we'll help you out on both these aspects. We'll help you out understanding that how you should plan out on the financial and legal provisions.
Is it a project from National Trust? I don't understand
Yes.
this.
Garonda,
Garonda. Okay, he's talking
Garonda.
about Garonda.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think Aditya Shah, you want to say something or ask the question, sir?
I need to say something.
Yeah,
Jitendra
sure.
sir,
Yes.
what is the financial of planning? Then charitable trust. Then what is the eligible of trust? Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question?
What is the charitable trust of financial planning? Yeah.
Okay. Charitable trust. So charitable trust is generally formed for charity. Okay, where individual is not as a beneficiary, where public at large is beneficiary. So our temples run under a charitable trust. School can run under a charitable trust, where you do not have a single beneficiary. Okay. Financial planning is more on working on your financial, identifying your goals. What do you want to achieve in life, and working out the money you want to save for that goal. So that is on financial planning.
And what about SIP?
So that's a different topic. I want to conduct a webinar. I am conducting a webinar with SNCC.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm not asking about SIP. I'm asking about your messages, because I was putting on a message in a group that Harshali ma'am, that in 5th June there was a Zoom meeting. Yeah. And after that I was calling from Shweta, that I was talk to Dr. Ashok Shah. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for allowing Aditya to speak.
No,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, sir.
Yeah, only thing is, one thing is that there are government residential homes. So at many places in Mumbai, there is a MDC or mentally deficient children home in Mankur, where there are almost 400 children space. No doubt the condition is not very comfortable for the children, but these children are the one who are found on the road, or people keep them at the temple or platform or something. These children are brought there and kept there. I'm not very sure that after both the parents dies, the special kids are taken there. These are for special care kids. These centers are.
Yes.
Many of the requirements are being looked after by our club also.
So my only view in this, it's very difficult to rely on government, run residential homes. In the past, there have been many cases, and in Delhi also we had cases where these had to be shut down. So the only, the concern is that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just read out, not a query, but the suggestion. We had 2 health scares recently where we needed to leave our child with my sister. Before this, we had never left the child with family. It's very important to have a support system ready. Yes, very true.
Yes, true.
And Geeta ma'am, yes, Ruth, we need to help our children with friends and family well to be able to spend time independently with people other than family. Very true, ma'am. Yeah, that's why actually we are here to discuss all those things that we should be ready in advance, not on the time when we just required in the 11th hour. So yeah, Geeta ma'am, you want to add something?
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everybody. Here I would like to add that Mr. Solanki's book is a must for all special parents. And it is very, very informative and it is very practical. We can plan using, get ideas from the book. And of course, he is there always to help us, with the financial planning. And we have to start thinking of residential planning from a very young age of the child itself. And we need to prepare the child and constantly tell him or her that they will have to stay in a hostel. For my son, I said hostel, because his elder brother went to college and went to hostel, traveled independently. So he also wants to do all that. So I keep telling my son that he has to be in a hostel and we will be around. We will come and see him and meet him. So he's mentally prepared that very soon he's going to go to a hostel. Similarly, we have to tell our children from a very young age onwards, we have to prepare them. And another thing is we have to make them social. Take them for any event where you get invited for, be it a wedding, be it a birthday party, be it a picnic. So they need to feel comfortable in areas other than home. So it is very important. So, and I found Jitendra Solanki's book very, very useful. So I would recommend it to everybody. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, very true. Actually, I always on initial financial, I used to just show this book, and every time I have this handy with my hand, that yes, it is very important book and you should have it. I mean, this is like anything I want, then I just go and see in this books. Yeah.
So I have shared a link in the chat section. Okay, that's a link of the special need calculator.
Yes,
so parents who are asking how to calculate, how to find this corpus. So if you haven't begin it, you can begin by just putting the numbers there, and it will it might throw you a scary number also. But then we have tried to identify into two methods so that it makes you comfortable. But from here you can start, and then you can move forward step by step.
Just add one thing. Besides this book, Jitendra sir has got wonderful modules of letter of intent writing. It's what the cost he has put. It's hardly, I think, 3,500 or 2,500. But it's a wonderful module. You can, and it's like a Gita for my son. Everything from the childhood to adulthood and needs and requirements, everything comes in that in a module format. So you don't miss out the points also. I mean, for someone, if it's to be read, it's really comfortable to be read.
Yeah, so you can read some book, anything else.
Yes. Okay, somebody is asking the book's name. It's a financial planning for family having children with special needs. It's available on Amazon. You can just find out this book, or we can share the link in the group. Just ping me in the group, please. If you need any material or something like that, you post in SNCC any group.
Yes. I shared the link of the book. Okay, you can buy the book directly.
Even many of them asking existing residential calculator or something like that. You just ping us on the group or something. We will share all the links there. If you miss links here, then we can always share in our groups. And do we have a soft copy? Sorry, of the book? No, you have to buy
soft copy. You have to buy it. So you have Kindle version also available.
Okay. Okay. Anyone has any questions, or we can stop here? Anybody want to ask anything? Dr. Bhavna is showing the book in her video. Thank you so much. So nice of
Can I
you,
ask a
ma'am.
question?
Yes, sure,
Yes, yes.
sure. Yeah.
Can we get a list of all the existing residential facilities in India?
Yes, actually, Miss Nina Wag, she is one of the facilitators. She made one list available and she posted it. Now we have it. I mean, we are adding to that. She is adding to that. So
Okay.
we can post it in a group. Please ping
Okay.
us in the group because that is the Excel file. We cannot share it here.
Fine, great, great. So group will be
Yeah.
fine.
Jitendra sir, can I
Yes,
read the
yes.
book?
अभी नहीं अभी
नहीं
बहुत टाइम लगेगा पूरी बुक खत्म करने में.
Okay, it's okay. No issues.
Thank you. I guess all the questions are answered here. Thank you very much, Jitendra sir.
Thank you.
In coming series, actually we are on a lot of topics, not just 4 or 5. We have around, I mean, a lot of topics are coming up. Next 11th June, we have 10-point checklist to know how much you are prepared. So these are the topics we are taking up in details because to create one readily available material, if you want anything, you can just go on your YouTube channel and you can find out that topic. So like that, we are having a series of webinar in this financial and estate planning. So see you on 11 June in our next topic.
Yeah, one last question. The group is closed for admins only, it says. So how do I message for that Excel sheet?
Okay, you are in, okay, I will open it up. You are in, I think, Summit
that is
group,
in the,
right?
SNIC National Summit.
Okay,
WhatsApp
okay. Yeah. Other groups are open. The Summit group is closed. I will open it. No problem.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jitendra, sir.
Saturday evening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you. Good night. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye. Thank you.